Hello, my name is Rich Howard, and I'm the owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is going to be talking about and going through the steps of basically building a work area, a desk we're going to build, and we're going to add some other creature comforts to a environment in which I spend time working in. And I thought, what would be more fun than video documenting the desk that I want to build? So let's move forward and let me show you what I have in mind and the space that we're going to do it in. So let's dive a little deeper into what I'm planning on doing in this space. So in this space, I'm going to have a desk. I'm going to have a desk that's going to be about 12 inches deep and about 5 foot wide. I don't want to project into the opening at all. I want to be able to take that man lift and drive it literally all the way down into this area so I can get up to the ceiling. So this desk it will not project past this area. So I'm going to have a fold down scenario so I can take the bottom of the desk, fold it up, and be able to work in this area nice and conveniently. So I think what we'll do is talk about drawing what that's going to look like. Also, I'm probably going to simply add an outlet back here for those creature comforts, and those creature comforts, I can just show you what I mean by that. There's a couple of things that go hand in hand with working, and one of those would be an endless supply of coffee and tea. So we're going to need to be able to get that all set up. On the weekends, of course, we might listen to a little bit of music is what we also might do as well. But I actually have an outlet already for the stereo equipment that's there, and I can show that to you. Pulled a circuit off of the fuse panel and ran it all the way back here for the 60s hi-fi. This equipment is all 1967, 68 equipment. This is the Sansui 3000A receiver that's here. We've got a Pioneer PL41 that's here as well. We've got a TIAC A2050 reel-to-reel. I have some backstock of equipment up here as well. Pioneer speakers. Those Pioneer speakers which will get installed, those are also 67, 68, and they're here. I'm going to show these to you. There they are. Okay, so we're going to build a desk. We're going to get a monitor installed here. We're going to add our coffee maker, little commissary section in here is what we're going to do as well. So I think what we'll do is let's switch camera views and let's take a little closer look at what I have an idea for in terms of the layout of the desk. So the top section is going to be fixed in place. That's going to be about maybe 10 3/4. Okay, about 60 inch back here. Something like that. Then I'm going to have a second piece that's going to be maybe 18 inch. And there'll be a piano hinge underneath here. And all of this is going to fall down, and then the chair is going to be in here. Okay. A cross section of this, what I'm thinking about, here's our shelving structure. Our fixed component is going to be bolted in here. Then the rest of the structure will be hinged with a typical piano hinge here. That'll swing down such that when it is in the stowed position, it will look like this. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay, let me show you the hardware that's going to allow us to accomplish this down to this. It's hardware that we stock, and I'd like to show it to you, so let me do that now.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Let me show you what my folding table support is going to look like. So there are those that have a drop leaf support. So there's two different types that we stock. I think we'll use the 8 inch. Let's take a look at this link. Okay, great. This is exactly what we're talking about. So I don't have an apron in my application, even though I could make one. It would actually not serve the application at all if there was an apron. What I have is without a table apron. This will be the fixed component, and then this is what's going to drop down, obviously. I'll use the 8-inch version, TPDL 20801. Let's go back and look at installation instructions. Yeah, beautiful. This is exactly what I'm using, this model right here. And if you bear with me one moment, I'm going to also show you the piano hinge that we're going to use as well. That is a TPDL 20801. All right, here it is. This is what it's going to look like. This should work out really, really well. So we're doing the 8-inch version, and my dimension B will have to be 2-inch. That's no problem. And I'm certainly imagining that this is going to be less than about 10-inch, the space in which I have to work on. The B dimension is going to be pretty important, and the fact that it's 8-inch, I certainly won't exceed where I'm going to end up with that drop table leaf. Now the piano hinge that I'm going to use is just one of my own piano hinges. This is just going to be 1.5 wide, 30-inch long. I know that my desk is going to be about 60.5, so assuming that those aren't grossly out of size, it should work out really well. Should have no problem at all. So easy stuff. I think we're going to get into this pretty well. Let's switch to the camera view and let's talk about what our next move is, because we do have to coordinate what our next steps are. Okay, so what I think our next steps are going to be is probably begin to take some actual dimensions of the work area and make some detailed dimensional notes. And then we're going to figure out how thick it needs to be, and I'll show you the bracketing that I plan to use for holding it there. And a lot of what I do, admittedly, is I look around and I see what I've got laying around, and I do have some stuff laying around that I can use to partially build some of this. The work surface itself is probably going to be reclaimed particle board, maybe some plywood that I've got in the shop, some OSB. I won't make the top of my desk anything like particle board or OSB. There'll be a very large covering, like a really big mouse pad on it, but I have found later in life that I actually develop a rash wherever I'm carrying oriented strand board, OSB. If I have that touch my skin long enough, I develop a rash, which was really weird. I can't say I spent a lot of time humping OSB around the shop, but definitely need to have gloves and long sleeve. Well, got to be wearing a shirt first. So that's step one. Step two, if you're wearing a shirt, make sure it's long sleeve, and then probably gloves. And so we're going to figure out how we're going to build it, what we'll use. We'll probably be at the shop when we're selecting that. But what I'll determine next is what kind of bracketing to use. And we're going to certainly use the CNC on this. I'm going to have to modify the brackets a little bit. We're going to talk about getting ourselves a vertical bandsaw. I've been wanting to buy one for a long time, so I'm just going to buy one at this juncture that will certainly be more than what's needed for this job. But it's something that will go into the shop environment because I've needed a more robust vertical bandsaw. Horizontal bandsaw will come later in the future, as a matter of fact. So we'll talk about bracketing, talk about the surface itself. The hardware we've already got, the hinge and the drop leaf supports. There's really nothing else other than some bolts that we'll need for putting it all together. I'm going to do some electrical to move an outlet to where I need it to go. Behind me here, actually, coincidentally, you can kind of see part of it, is where the garbage can is going to sit. I'm going to build something in here, and this space here is where the coffee maker is going to end up going, so we'll put something a little bit nicer in play there. And then outside of that, I can't think of anything else that we're going to need to work on to keep this moving forward. So let's move on and let's talk about what type of bracketing that we're going to end up kind of reusing from shop, from material. It's actually going to be this angle here. We're going to nest them together such that we're going to fit our desk right into there is actually what we're going to do. They'll be bolted right in here. It will go across that way. Okay, and we're going to slide the entire desk in. We'll drill holes through the top. We'll bolt it down, and everything will be right in the world. All right, let's keep this party moving forward. Okay, let's talk about now how we're going to bracket in order to slide that desk in. And here's the area that we're talking about. I'm going to position a couple of brackets here and over on that side at the right height, generally about 28, 30 inches, somewhere in the range for a good desk height. My desk that I have here is a good overall height, but I'm not thrilled with the clearance underneath. Yeah, about 30 and a quarter. The issue is down here, it's 23 and 3/8. Problem is you can't completely move your chair underneath the desk ever at all because it's too low because of the drawers, but that's just part and parcel. The legs go underneath pretty well. So about 30 inches, pretty typical for the height where a desk would be, at least for me. Yeah, so we're going to be right in this general area. Let me show you the brackets that I'm planning on using. We'll get the concept of what we're doing here. So the brackets are going to go together basically like that. Okay, I'm just going to nest them together. And I'll bolt those. They're going to be bolted to the vertical structure here. Okay, it's really going to look like this. Okay, this will be cut back, as I had indicated earlier, so that we can get our table to drop down. But it's going to look like this, and we'll have this on both sides. I will bolt it to the vertical structure, and they'll be bolted together, quite frankly. And then we'll slide our unit. We're going to slide the desk in, and then we'll bolt it from the top down. So let's put the camera down, and let's figure out an idea of how thick it can be. And when I take these brackets and I nest them together like this, I'm going to get an inside dimension about 1.25 inches. That will float slightly. So 1.25 inches, what are we going to use to get to maybe 1 5/16 or 1 3/8? I know I've got 7/16 OSB. 2 sheets of that's going to be 7/8. I know I've got 1/8" tempered hardboard. It'd be 1/4. It wouldn't be thick enough. I know that I've got some 3/8 particle board. I think what I'm going to want to do is 3/4 plywood down below. Well, actually, it's not 3/8, it's 5/16 particle board. I think it's 5/16. 3/4, 5/16 is 1 1/16. And maybe a piece of 1/8" tempered hardboard on top. That would be okay, I think. Plywood, 3/4 plywood, 5/16 particle board, then 1/8" tempered hardboard. I also have some 1/2" polycarbonate, that I know. I don't know if I want to really use, that would be kind of cool actually. 1/2" polycarbonate. Be unnecessarily expensive, that's for sure. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick this up when I'm actually in the shop and we're trying to figure out what I'm going to actually use to create it. So what we'll do now is we'll take some detailed dimensions of what it's going to actually look like. So we'll put this all away and we'll take some detailed dimensions.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Okay, so if you recall, this is the design that we were originally talking about, something like this. So I'm going to place the camera here and I'll take some dimensions and we will make some notes in terms of what this is going to need to look like. So we're going to allow maybe 1/4 inch of the pre-fit in the width. And when I get my inside dimension here, 60 1/8 wide. I'm going to write that down. So 60 1/8 is how much room we've got. I think I'll make the desktop 59 7/8. Then, if we're going to be at 1.25 inches wide, we're going to for sure need to do here is about 11 3/4. So let's deal with 11.5 inch. Our unit is going to be, when it hangs down, about 1.25 inches thick. That's 10 1/4. Plus there's going to be a small amount of the hinge that we have to account for, and I don't really know that off the top of my head because of the full surface nature of a piano hinge. Okay, we're going to need to allow for the fact that that hinge is going to take up some room. So we'll allow 1/8 of an inch for that. So 10 1/4 minus an eighth, about 10 inch, 10 1/8 inch, obviously. Yeah, we'll go 10 1/8 on the depth of this. All right, now we know that we're going to want this thing. Well, we're going to be at 30 inch on the height, on the overall height, and I think I had said I was going to make the overall depth. Well, the existing desk is 27 inch, so that's a pretty nice depth there. We've got 2 feet below here, and I know that this is about 3 feet wide. I really don't need this to be more than, what do I need actually? Yeah, we need about 2 foot. So I'm gonna make, let's draw this and let's take a closer look at what we're thinking about here. And I'll explain my thought process here in a moment. So what we're building is gonna look something like this. Okay, put some other dimensions on this. 35 7/8. And then that's going to be 59 minus 35 is 24, so that's going to be 12. That'll work. Overall width of that is going to be 15 7/8. Yeah, it's 26 deep. Yeah, it's a good dimension, that's for sure. And then we're going to want this area here to be 9 7/8. Will 20 inch be adequate? Yeah, for sure it will be. So this will be 9 7/8. That'll be 20. And then our overall, and the lights have gone out as they do. It'll be 26. Okay, let's see what we've got. .26 overall deep. The back half that's fixed is 10 1/8. We've got 15 7/8. Got a little notch down here at the bottom to get a little more room. Maybe I'll just extend that. Should be okay. Just enough room to put something small. I think that's going to work out just lovely right there. And then again, we're going to be 1 1/4 thick. We can go thicker. We can go a little thicker, a little thinner. But that's what we're going to cut. And I don't think there's anything else that we've got to worry about in terms of cutting other than our little area here for our creature comforts. So we'll go to that in the next video. Okay, then the last component before we actually start prepping and cutting material and probably getting some tools on order is going to be, we're going to build over in this area a little commissary, in the sense that I'll get a different garbage can a little bit lower. I'll build a couple of pair of just particle board doors that are in here, and on top of here we'll have a circular waste chute into a piece of wood that we'll cut, and we'll put our coffee maker here, so that when we're right here at our desk and we're working, we'll just be able to keep that coffee and tea flowing right next to us. And that's what we're going to end up doing. We'll detail how we're going to build a couple of doors. I'll probably just add another angle and then use a couple of maybe typical non-mortise bifold door hinges, something inexpensive, something cheap. Probably put a couple of magnetic catches on here as well. So let's move forward with the process. I'm probably going to start looking at a vertical bandsaw, because I'll know that I'll need to get that in order before we can really get things moving. Get to the shop, we'll start making our table, get our hardware together, and keep it all going. Thanks for following along.
Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.